our hearts. We've got love that won't depart. We are always in the stands, 'cause we're super Dolphin fans. Football is mighty rough. Winning gets awful tough. We're rooting for the Dolphins. Our mighty, mighty Dolphins. We're rooting for the Dolphins. Our mighty, mighty Dolphins.
Hello, 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 Miami Dolphin fans, and welcome to the Same Old Dolphin Show, part of the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network. I'm Josh Katzker, and not with me today is my brother from the exact same mother, Aaron the Brain. He is currently somewhere in parts unknown New York on his way home, traveling from the music festival that we were at over this past weekend in Virginia. But listen, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't have somebody on deck ready to receive the call up to fill in his chair here on the Same Old Dolphin Show. So please welcome Mr. Dolphins Talk himself, Mike Oliva. Mike, welcome to the show.
I'm the Zach Wilson of the show, ready to step in at a moment's notice. And I just hope right now that Aaron the Brain, who's in traffic, stuck in traffic, is not partaking in any highway profanity. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, far be it from, listen, we know that we need to put an end to highway profanity.
We do.
And I think you're carrying the banner for that, but
someone has
Aaron
to.
the Brain is a close second in terms of making sure that we put an end to that. And trust me, there was cause for some highway profanity today, let me tell you, but that's another story for another time. But wanted to make sure that we could get a show in tonight. In fact, I only just got home. Probably we're live here Monday night. It's on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel, which, by the way, everybody should be subscribed to. So smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you're notified every time we go live. As well, I want to give a shout out to everybody watching live on the I'm a Miami Dolphin Fan Facebook page, run by the tremendously handsome and wonderful Carlos Hernandez. Shout out to Carlos. Yeah, it was a long drive home today, but wanted to get in and do a show. We didn't even watch the game. We managed to avoid the game completely Sunday all day. We turned off notifications on all of our apps, and we got home from the music festival. We're feeling great. We're in a great mood. Awesome 3-day weekend watching music, and then we get home and we get back to the Verbo where we were staying, and we fire up the NFL Plus so we can watch the replay of the Dolphins game. And boy, the Dolphins, they never fail to disappoint. And when I mean they never fail to disappoint, I mean they always disappoint. You know what I mean? It was so the Dolphins, they fall short 33-27. And there were a lot of takeaways that I had from this game, Mike, and I don't want to go blow for blow on them. And I think that you and Tom did a really good job of highlighting a lot of those things. But to me, this game was just every single thing that is wrong with this team was on full display on Sunday, whether it's the shortcomings of the head coach, the shortcomings of the quarterback, the shortcomings of the build of the roster. Everything that was wrong with it was on full display for everybody to see on Sunday in Miami.
Yeah, it was, to quote the name of the show, Same Old Dolphins. I mean, it's like, it's sad when fans like you and me, not even living in the state of Florida, but follow this team day in, day out, watch every game, follow all the offseason moves, follow all the signings, follow the draft. We can see this stuff clear as day in advance. Now, I know some fans don't. They just want to have that pie in the sky, Pollyanna, Rosie. We're going to be great. Everything's always great. I get it. But for like the more level-headed, rational fans, like we see this stuff. It's like, oh, that secondary is going to be really bad. Oh, this offensive lineup is going to be really bad. Oh, this quarterback just never comes up big in big moments. And, we say it all year round, and some fans get mad at us, so whatever, who cares? It's just, then you see it in execution in a game versus a team that is either equal to us or lesser than us. And it's like, saw this coming a mile away. How come they didn't?
Yeah, I mean,
that's the frustrating part of being a fan of this team. It's like everyone knows this is going to happen.
I feel like there's also a certain muscle memory that Miami Dolphins have, which Miami Dolphin fans have, rather, which is that the offseason is your time to be optimistic. It's your time to try to be positive of the team, because once the regular season starts, that's not going to be feasible. And so you had a lot of people, for lack of a better term, working themselves into a shoot about what this team is going to be this year. And so
they're scrubbing their social media now too. A lot of them. Oh, I never said that. I never saw. Oh, okay. A lot of people scrubbing social media.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I'm not going to fault anybody for trying to see things from the positive perspective coming into the season and trying to, build their ideas of what this team is going to be capable of. But it's why whenever somebody tells you the story about what this team is going to be capable of, and they're always prefacing with if, and I'm like, yeah, but if never happens, right? If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. And listen, one of the biggest thing is always if the Dolphins stay healthy. Well, they're immediately not healthy. They got two starting offensive linemen on IR. Another one of their defensive backs that was brought in, who is always hurt, can't stay healthy. He's going to miss the game on Thursday. You've got, listen, again, it's my analogy of when you build the ship out of faulty parts, you can't be upset when the ship falls apart. And, that's the situation with the Dolphins. But what I kind of wanted to center the show around today is that first statement that I made at the beginning, which is, at this point in time, Mike McDaniel is a dead man walking. There is no, I mean, the only possible road to salvaging this season and his job is somehow a miraculous turnaround, starting with a victory in Buffalo somehow. Although some of the more positive people say, well, if the Dolphins could just be competitive in Buffalo. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. Maybe
moral victories at 0-2. I love it.
Yeah, it's like you're trying for moral victories. And to be fair, from where I'm sitting right now, I am viewing this Miami Dolphins season, and I think I said so either maybe it was in the preseason show that we did, maybe it was in the roundtable show, or if it was in an episode of the Same Old Dolphins show this offseason. I said, what success looks like for the Dolphins this season has almost nothing to do with what their record is, because to me, success for the Dolphins at this point is walking out of this season knowing what you have in all of these rookie and second year players. Because really right now, what I'm looking at is who are the players that are on this team right now that are going to be pieces of the next iteration of a competitive Miami Dolphins team. And by that, I'm not talking about 2026. I'm talking about who are the pieces that are going to be here in 2027 when this team is realistically looking at being a competitive team again. Now, I don't want to go down that road right now, because we've got all season to talk about that.
Well, can I give you one stat? Just one stat from yesterday's game. Just one.
Go ahead.
Stat. And look, it's a second game ever, so don't read this as me piling on the kid. But when we traded all those picks to move up for Jonah Savaianea, a lot of people were like, is that the right thing to do? That's a lot of picks to get up for this kid. Okay, whatever. And I know it's a second game. Once again, second game. I'm not saying he's going to be a bust. He was the worst graded offensive lineman in the entire NFL yesterday. If you're into PFF, the number was 26.4.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. And listen, we knew there were going to be growing pains. We knew there were going to be growing pains with the guard, which is why I told people when they were telling me that the Dolphins drafted Jonas Savaianaya and all their prayers have been answered on the offensive line. I'm saying, well, he's going to have growing pains. He's not going to be that guy for another couple of years. I mean, even Rob Hunt, like, that's the thing. It's right. You drafted Jonas Savaianaya to be Rob Hunt, basically, is what you did. And Rob Hunt, it took him a little while till he became Rob Hunt. And so, Jonah's having those growing pains too. But as I look at this team right now, and I look looking at week 2 specifically, because we know that week 1 was a disaster class. Week 2, looking at this loss against New England, This is how you know that Mike McDaniel as a head coach is cooked. Same problems doomed this team at the end of the game. How are we 4 years in to your tenure as head coach, and you are still getting calls into the huddle with 10 seconds left on the play clock? You can't be successful there. How do you still have players who, if you're going to have the intricacies of how your offense is going to work with pre-snap motion and this, that, and the other thing, you have to have it down. You have to have it nailed, right? And if there are problems with process, with players moving in the wrong direction, Malik Washington is moving forward on his motion on one play, or too many false starts, or too many delay of game penalties. And the delay of game penalties is a huge one. That at a certain point, that is not on the players. You've got this complex offense that you refuse to dumb down, and the players on your team can't execute it. At a certain point, the problem is not with the students. The problem is with the teacher. And that's what this situation is. So when you look at it like that, yes, that's a big problem. So you saw all the shortcomings of the head coach on display. And I mean, at this point, I just think he's absolutely cooked. You listen to his comments in the post games. You know, in order to win games, you have to win games, or whatever it was. That comment that he made.
He's got nothing to say anymore.
He's completely just cooked. Okay, and he knows it. The team knows it. I mean, at this point, I'm expecting. I've got a question for you that I want to ask about this Bills game at the end of the show. Okay. So I'll come back to that. Because the brain and I are not going to be able to do a preview. I guess this is an opportunity for me to do a little plug here. We're not going to have a preview show on Thursday night for Sunday's game because the game is Thursday night. So instead, on Thursday night, if you're a Dolphins Talk Extra subscriber, we're doing a live watch along of the Dolphins Bills game this Thursday night. So if you're not a member yet, head on over to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk, and you can join for as little as $3 a month. You get live watch alongs. We have Dolphins Talk happy hours where we do interactive shows with everybody can come on the air with us and talk to us in real time. We got the Discord. We've got bonus podcasts as well, contests, fantasy games, all kinds of stuff over there at Dolphins Talk Extra. So check that out, patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. We'll come back and we'll talk more about that Bills game here in a minute. But McDaniel's cooked. It's not just McDaniel that's cooked, right? He was brought in, right? What was his number one role? What was his number one job when he was hired to be the head coach of the Dolphins?
Fix Tua.
Fix Tua. And we saw for 2 years, Tua was operating at the height of whatever it is that he's capable of doing. But while all that was happening, he continued to take these head injuries. And the Dolphins have urged him to do all of these things to protect himself. And what that has resulted in is even Tua, at the best of his ability, is a diminished player because of the fact that you have an entire aspect of the game of football that a quarterback would be expected to play that is not available to him because of fear of getting hit, right? So you've got, there are a number of opportunities, like that 3rd and 12, right? Tua runs out of bounds. He can't find anybody downfield late in the game, right? 3rd and 12, Tua is looking for somebody, can't find anybody, just runs, takes nothing. If he was not a quarterback who was afraid of contact and afraid that if he gets tackled in the open field, that he could be on the shelf for 4 weeks, he can run there. He's not athletic, right? He is an athletic player. He is an athlete. He's capable of running, but he's not going to do it because that's going to put him in danger. And so the idea of having the ability to run down the field, that is an entire element of his game that does not exist and nobody has to account for defensively because he's not going to do it, right? So you now have Mike McDaniel. His one job was to fix the quarterback. He kind of fixed the quarterback, but now the quarterback is regressing and is regressing and is a diminished player. That's another strike against him, right? And then on top of all of that, we know this because this is the way Chris Grier operates. Chris Grier is nothing more than Instacart for Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel was the one who sent Chris Grier out to bring these guys in to build this team the way that it is built. and it's terrible. So McDaniel owns part of this build as well. Like that's not all on Grier. A lot of it is on McDaniel. But that leads me to the other question. And that's really the thing that is a question to me. Because to me, there is no doubt that Mike McDaniel is completely cooked unless the Dolphins suddenly miraculously turn around, go into Buffalo, beat the Bills, and completely right the ship. I am not expecting that. If you're expecting that to happen,
it's not happening. They don't have talent.
If there's somebody out here who's listening to that and expects that to happen, I don't know how to help you. But hopefully somebody out there can. But to me, the only thing that is a question right now is whether Steve Ross is going to have the guts to, when he gets rid of Mike McDaniel, get rid of Chris Grier as well and really clean house and build this thing the right way the next time it gets built, because that is not what happened last time. What happened last time was that they got rid of Adam Gase. They got rid of him, but they got rid of Brian Flores. But did they get rid of the quarterback? They didn't get rid of the quarterback. Did they get rid of the general manager? They didn't get rid of the general manager. So that meant that they went out to hire a head coach specifically to work with this quarterback. And now you've got this quarterback who is a shell of whatever it was that he once was. There are still glimpses of things here and there. He did play a better game against New England than he did against the Colts, but that's like saying, I don't know. That's like saying, wow, you got out of bed today, which you didn't do yesterday.
The bar set. That's the thing. The bar set so freaking low that as long as he pretty much runs out of the tunnel, and if he doesn't trip, there's segments of this fan base that say, "Oh, he had a good day." Why? Because he ran out of the tunnel. I mean, it's like the bar cannot be any lower for a guy making that much money. But real quick, we've done this multiple times. We did this when, Jeff Ireland survived numerous head coaches, and we forced, whether Joe Philbin, Adam Gase with Ryan Tannehill, where Jeff Ireland stayed, but the head coach was a revolving door. Then essentially now we're doing it again with this guy in Grier in this role where, technically he was the general manager for Gase, but it's like we just forced a quarterback on a new head coach. And that's why you don't get candidates who are any good, have no experience. And then when you try to reach out to certain people to just interview them, they're like, I didn't want to take the interview. Now, who doesn't? There's only 32 of these jobs on planet Earth. We've had more people tell us, I don't even want to meet with you about this job. I don't even want to take the interview because I don't want the job, because they don't want to be saddled with either a general manager they don't want or a quarterback they don't want or whatever we're trying to hire at that time. So it's like, that's where, and here's the deal. I don't know when they're firing anybody and stuff, whatever. They're not going to fire everybody in season. That's just unrealistic. So if they fire like either Grier now and say McDaniel after the season, that's fine. If they fire McDaniel soon and then wait to fire Grier till after week 18, that's fine. Fans shouldn't lose their what. Now, if we get past that Monday after week 18 and they're both employed still, go crazy, folks. You have every right to. But I don't think they're just going to fire everybody now, because you do have to get through the next 14 or 15 weeks. Yes, someone will be a fall guy, but I don't think they're both going to be a fall guy in season. That's my point. Yeah,
I mean, it would be the ideal situation, but to me, is they got to get rid of both of them. I mean, I stand corrected. My ideal situation is not only do they get rid of the both of them, but then Ross sells the team as well. And we have somebody that actually has some sort of football brain and the idea behind operating a football team. And that is the owner of the team.
Well,
that's what I want. But
the next owner, which again, not official, this is just most likely is going to be Joseph Tsai, who owns now 3% of the team. He also owns the Liberty and the Nets and stuff. He's probably the next guy. Now, the guy who really wants the team, and even though publicly he has said no, he doesn't want it. And I wrote an article about this 1 year ago, and this guy's so rich, he must have an army of people scour the net for his name, because they reached out to me and said, you have to correct this. Is Ken Griffin, who is one of the 8th or 9th richest person on planet Earth, hedge fund guy. He's from South Florida. Again, though, with him, you got to be careful. Well, I should be careful what I say, because he's probably going to see it, because those guys are so rich. look at the Panthers when they were sold. Like, they don't want to hear nothing from anybody, and they are very headstrong. So be careful what you wish for on a sale. Like, Ross will write the checks, and he gives people way too much time, but it could actually be worse. But someone like Joseph Tsai, I mean, that's probably like best case scenario, honestly, because he's run a sports team before, and he's actually won a championship with a sports team.
Yeah, well, I listen. I at this point, I'll take anything as an improvement. Right?
Yeah.
Anything was going to be an improvement over Danny Crossman. And even while Ackerman's season was cut short after the Antonio Gibson touchdown,
1 minute long, but it was the greatest minute we've ever had.
But at this point, anybody is an upgrade from Steve Ross. And I want to make it myself clear on this. I'm not saying that Stephen Ross is a bad owner from the PR standpoint. From the PR standpoint, he's fantastic. He does amazing things for the community. He invests well. He's brilliant in terms of, listen, nobody gets to be a billionaire without being good at, well, I shouldn't say that. There are plenty of billionaires out there who are not good at anything. But there are,
don't talk about Tony Khan that way. Do not talk about Tony Khan that way.
Right. Steve Ross, there are things that he is good at. One of the things among the things that he is not good at is running a football team as an owner, right? He's
not a sports guy.
The PR side, the marketing side, the public relations side, all of that is brilliant. Okay. And he's got an incredible team that is churning out outstanding propaganda for the Miami Dolphins. You look no further than the launch of the rivalry uniforms when you've got a team that is horrendous. Just had one of the worst ass kickings in the entire NFL. And it's the week that you launch your new gimmick uniforms, and the gimmick uniforms are still selling out. That speaks to the effectiveness and the brilliance of the PR and the marketing and the advertising and the propaganda and everything that team is turning out from that standpoint. That's all wonderful and good. What's terrible is the football product. And you need to fix that. And as the owner of the team, he is ultimately where the buck needs to stop on that. But for the longest time, he is the one that just hands it off to Chris Greer and says, okay, Chris Greer, you do what you're going to do. And, or whoever it was before him, it was, Ireland. And, I'm just going to, whoever wants to whisper sweet nothings into my ear about what we need to do, I'm going to listen to you. And he is loyal to a fault, to the point that he will stick with somebody way too long. And he just doesn't have his, say what you want about Jerry Jones. That guy cares about what the football team is doing.
That's what it takes. Even though you don't have the results.
Ross doesn't have that.
No.
So anyway.
No, that's a big part of it. No, he's not a sports guy. Like, he loves Michigan football. That's really his passion. And he'll give them zillions of dollars to go out there and buy the best players. And God love him. He loves his school. Nothing wrong with that. But to run a professional sports team, as much as people used to mock Steinbrenner, you got to have a little Steinbrenner in you, where, George Steinbrenner was never the richest owner in Major League Baseball. In fact, he was one of the poorest. What made Steinbrenner great and why Yankee fans love him is because every cent of profit he made, he put back in the team. He didn't put it in his pocket. He goes, I don't need to be rich. I want to win. I want to win at all costs. And that's what you want from an owner, someone who's like, we see a game that's a rough loss or like a loss in the playoffs. Fans are like tossing and turning. They can't sleep. Oh my God. This guy, he probably doesn't feel that way. And that's okay. Not everyone's wired that way. But if you're going to run a professional team, you got to be wired that way, or you got to have someone in a position of power who is wired that way. And you can't just give people years on end to figure this out. And I know, it's not the lose. As I always say, it's not the losing. It's how they lose, which is so depressing at times and so soul-crushing. And this loss yesterday, we return a punt. We get the lead. The offense is kind of humming. It's like, all right. And like 60 seconds later, they run back a kickoff. Like, are you bleeping kidding me? But okay, we got a $40, $50 million quarterback. Let's go. All we need is another touchdown, and we're moving the ball. And he throws an interception. All right, now we home to 3. We just need a touchdown, and the drive stalls. It's like, can't win.
As Chad Finn, who is a columnist for the Boston Globe, in his preview of Dolphins Patriots, he basically led by saying, let me see if I could find the quote because it was really good what he said. I'm pulling it up now. This is really great content here. He said basically something along the lines of the Dolphins can't, here it is. Got it right here. The Dolphins need perfect conditions to be at their best, and they seem inclined to fold whenever challenged.
Yeah.
Which I think is absolutely the perfect summary of why the Dolphins are simply not going to win anything with Mike McDaniel. Because here's the thing. This is the National Football League. Conditions are never going to be perfect. They're never going to be perfect. You're always going to have a team whose entire goal is to disrupt your game plan. And they're going to do that. And you're going to have players get hurt. You're going to lose offensive linemen. You're going to lose quarterbacks. You're going to lose skill position players. You're going to lose defensive players. You're going to play in bad weather conditions. All of these things are going to happen. You have to have a team that is able to win despite those conditions not being perfect. And under Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins win when everything is exactly as they want it. When they're playing from in front, when they're playing ahead, when they're out in front, they're front running, they've got their top line guys. If they are not able to stay healthy, they're incapable of winning. It crumbles like a house of cards. And that's all you need to know. When you look at the last 4 years and you look at the first 2 weeks of this season, you go, yeah, this is a team that can't win without perfect conditions. And guess what? The conditions are never going to be perfect.
And so it's worse than that. It's worse than that. Because the past 24 hours, and it's social media. You always take it with a grain of salt, what you see on there. There's a large, I've learned, portion of this fan base. It's like Stockholm Syndrome. They've been brainwashed by like Greer and McDaniel and stuff to where it's like, well, how can Tua have any success? They don't invest in the offensive line. And then you point out, Austin Jackson's a first-round pick. Patrick Paul's a second-round pick. Jonas Savaiinae is a second-round pick, and they traded more picks to move up to get him. Liam Eichenberg, who's not here, but he's their top guy off the bench, is a second-round pick. They paid Armstead a ton of money to come here. I know he's not here now, but they invested in him. They paid Aaron Brewer a lot of money. It's like they invest in the offensive line. It's not always going to be perfect. Don't make excuses for this guy. When things break down, make a play. There's that aspect. And then tankathon, because, that's what they do. If the season ends today, who's drafting where? They got Miami drafting third, which, most rational, normal people, if you're picking third, that means you're really, really bad. Now, mind you, it's September 14th when they put this out.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're picking third. They're picking third today. They could pick second or first when we get there. Who knows? Dolphins fans are like, why draft a quarterback? We got to fix the offensive line. And I'm like, first off, this is where the Stockholm Syndrome comes in. Most teams can walk and chew gum at the same time to where you can draft your quarterback and fix the offensive line simultaneously. It's not an either or. And this is where Dolphins fans like, don't take a new quarterback because we don't have an offensive line. Well, how many more picks do we have to put in this offensive line? And yes, take a quarterback. The draft doesn't end after night one. You got 6 more rounds. You got free agency, sign offensive linemen. So the new quarterback set up for success, hopefully with a new head coach and a new GM. But the fan base is brainwashed to thinking don't even look at the quarterback until you fix the offensive line, to which I say, how much more fixing you got to do?
It's the dumbest thing. And it's the dumbest thing everybody knows. Well, any smart person knows that the cheat code in the National Football League, the cheat code is to have a young quarterback on a rookie contract who can be your franchise guy. If you can solve that problem, look at the Washington Commanders with what they got in Jaden Daniels.
When the Broncos, what they did.
Yes.
F. Wilson will take the huge cap hit.
Yeah, they took the cap hit and they were like, we're gonna ride with Bo Nix because he's the guy that we want. When you have that, like, look at what the Buffalo Bills did and what the Baltimore Ravens did when they brought in Lamar Jackson, they brought in Josh Allen, and the Bengals did it with Joe Burrow, and they brought this guy in, and they had these guys on these cheap deals, and they elevated the entire team and said, okay, we've got our guy. Now we can build this team because now we've got our franchise guy. If it is not obvious to you at this point that Tua is not the future of the Miami Dolphins, he may very well be in the mix next season just because they're going to take that huge hit to be with him. But hopefully that is a decision that will be left up to whoever the new general manager is. But this guy, Tua is not the quarterback of this team in 2027. I mean, if I could bet money on that right now, I'd be betting money that Tua Tagovailoa is not the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins in week 1 of the 2027 season.
He ain't going to be here next year. Like, no, here's the deal. Unless you promote Weaver and you tell him, look, you have to keep him, which would be a disaster all in itself. It just shows nothing's changed and we're going to be a mess moving forward. If they want to go out there and get that, let's not go through the names, but a big name coach who's available, they're going to come in and go, okay, so he got Flores fired. He got Mike McDaniel fired, and you want me to work with him for a year? That ain't happening because I ain't coming here then. You can't force him on anybody. He's going to be like, you figure out a way to trade him. You figure out a way to move him, or just tell him to stay home. We'll pay him for a year. We'll cut him next year, but he ain't going to be here because he ain't going to ruin my opportunity to run this team when he's already ruined it for 2 other people. Like, that's not how this league works, okay? Like, they'll pay him to stay home. Before they actually, like, any new coach is going to use him after he's got the last 2 fired and possibly the general manager fired. He ain't going to be here next year. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know what the cap it's going to be. He ain't going to be here next year, folks. That's how this league works.
So,
unless it's Weaver.
As I said, my thesis statement today is Mike McDaniel's a dead man walking. It's just a matter of time. I don't know if he's going to get fired Friday. But he's not going to make it that long. I would be, unless, like I said, unless this team like miraculously puts something together this season, which, let's be honest, I don't expect.
Not happening.
I don't think there's any way he's making it to the end of the season because the situation is just untenable as far as I can.
I still think week 3's early. I still think Thursday, October 30th, Ravens at home, Amazon again. After that, you got 10 days off. I think that's more of a natural spot. Because you still got half the season. It's just more of a natural spot, I think. If you want to wait till after the game in Spain, which is just a few weeks later, because then you got a bye week, again, it's fine. So any fans, when we lose on Thursday to the Bills, if you wake up Friday thinking he's going to get fired and he's not, don't flip out. He's still getting fired. It's just, and what's the rush? It's not like they're going to, interview all these guys like now. They're still going to wait till January to meet with people. There's no rush. So if they want to do a Friday, great. If they don't, I could care less, honestly. And honestly, once we lose Thursday, the goal does become, let's try to get the highest pick possible at this point. He will probably lead you to that promised land of a first, because he whatever the opposite of the Midas touches, that's Mike McDaniel right now. He will lead you to that 1 overall pick. You might not want him gone, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it might be good to have him here and let them just lose and lose and lose.
Let him just run it in the ground.
Well,
it already has.
We'll see, lest we be accused of not being real fans. Let's go ahead and talk about our friends at Caneswear, because Caneswear.com is the best and most affordable, the place to go to for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins gear in South Florida. Or if you're online, you can do it there too. And listen, maybe you're not feeling spending money on the Miami Dolphins right now, and good for you if that's the stand that you're taking. And I think more people need to take that stand, frankly. But, like we said, the PR machine is working overtime for the Dolphins. But listen, if you're looking for Miami Dolphins gear, you're looking for Miami Heat, you're looking for Miami. But listen, the Miami Heat's
the Hurricanes
coming up.
How about
Miami Hurricanes are looking like, is the U back? Let me know. I'll talk to you after the FSU game. But they're coming along. We got Florida Panthers warming up, trying to go back to back to back. Is that possible? Listen, whatever the gear is that you want, Caneswear.com has got you covered. They'll ship internationally as well. If you're in South Florida, you can visit their storefront on University Drive. And Caneswear.com, the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins and South Florida sports apparel. Again, that's Caneswear.com, Caneswear.com. Mike, you said you got some news.
Well, yeah, we got some news. But first, I want to say this, because you said that the PR machines and high gear, the propaganda, and with some outlets, it still is. they're still pushing the false hope, all that stuff, whatever. And some are just absolutely doing 180s, thinking that you people forgot what they've been saying for years, and especially the past 6 months, which I find hilarious. Now, I knew this wasn't going to work. You picked them to win 11 games. Don't tell me you knew this wasn't going to work. Whatever, that's a different story. You know the frauds when you see them. Here's what I find funny. And, God love the Miami Dolphins organization. But there's the on-field product, and then there's the other stuff. The website and all that stuff. Do you know that the Miami Dolphins so on their website, they put up pictures from the game. They hire a photographer. He puts up pictures he takes from the game. Now, most NFL teams, and by most I mean 31 others, on a Sunday, they'll put up pictures in real time. They got like 20 or 30 of the guys walking in. They got some in the warm-ups. And as the game goes on, they're taking them and they're putting them, load them on the website. Do you know the Miami Dolphins haven't uploaded a picture in their photo gallery since the last preseason game? That's embarrassing. I'm sorry, that's embarrassing. I mean, every other team, is it a big deal? No, but as an organization, when you don't do the small things right, how can you expect them to do the big things right? It's a small thing, I know, and I know nobody really cares, and honestly, I don't care that much, but they haven't uploaded a photo to their photo gallery since the last preseason game. Here's another one. Do you remember about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, they were promoting the Under the Sun. It's like Hard Knocks, but we're Under the Sun.
They were. That was the newest piece of
each week. Follow
propaganda.
Under the Sun each week. They've dropped one episode and they've knocked, and I don't think they're dropping one more again. That was canceled by themselves, essentially.
Well, because
unless they're only going to drop it out. Wins.
That was the cinematic recaps that the Dolphins do. Remember, we've seen plenty of those cinematic recaps that the Dolphins have put out. Only put them out when the Dolphins win. They don't put them out after losses.
Well, then we're probably going to get like 1 or 2. I mean, but it's like you can't, again.
Just wait until the Miami Dolphins go and beat the Carolina Panthers in whatever week 6 or whatever it is when they play them, and then we'll get a fantastic new episode of Under
the locker room scene, everyone cheering like it's not over, guys. We're still in it. You ever see the movie? We're gonna pull together and win. It's like you ain't gonna pull together. That's what
I would actually like to go back and watch that first episode of Under the Sun again.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. Which now I kind of want to, though. Actually,
I want to kind of go back and watch it again, and through the lens of what this team has become after 2 weeks.
But actually, this is like that would actually, if you are gonna have a show like that, this is the interesting time to watch the show when things aren't great.
Yeah,
let me show the guys being mad in the locker room. Let me show that they're upset after a loss and they're a little bit grumpy. It's like, okay, these guys care. You know what? I know they're not winning. I know it's not going to be a great season. It shows me that they actually care. I tune into that. I don't want sunshine and rainbows blowing up my ass. Show me the real side of this, but they're not doing that. They won't even upload pictures from the game. I mean,
yeah. Show me what it's like in the front office when they are.
What happened?
Oh, I thought I got the Tampa Bay game on over here, and
I got it on 2.
Baker just went down kind of bad, but it looks like he's all right. He got up and he's in some.
Okay. He's
anyway,
a really good quarterback. He's turned into a really good quarterback too.
He's he's all right. My thought totally left. Oh yeah, what I want to see is those conversations in the front office. I want to see the conversation in the marketing department. How are we going to control the narrative now? Right. How are we going to control the narrative now that everybody sees just how bad this team is? This team stinks. Anyway, what's the news? What's today's news, Mike?
So for Thursday, no Waller. He's not playing. They already ruled him out. No Fedi Malafanu.
So that's 3 games that he will have not played. They could have just left him on the pup.
Yeah, well, they don't know. Josh, they can't get pictures up in a photo gallery. You want them to think about putting a guy in a pup in August when he's going to come back? Come on.
He's on the active 53-man roster.
I know. They had 7 guys inactive on Sunday, only 2 of which were actually truly healthy, and one of them was Quinn Ewers. That's all you need to know.
Apropos of nothing, I just want to give a shout out to Will Fuller.
Pretty much. So also at safety, no Fedi Malafanu. He has a soft tissue calf injury. They won't put him on IR, but he's just not going to play on Thursday. Mike McDaniel said Austin Jackson will only miss 4 games on IR. He will be ready after the 4 games is up. He's coming back. It won't go longer. Mike McDaniel, when asked about if he's heard anything from the owner, Mr. Ross, he said he's had only normal conversations with Mr. Ross after the game yesterday. They spoke about the loss, and they spoke about the game on Thursday versus the Bills. Mike McDaniel, this one's rich, said he and the coaching staff came together, and they came up with a solution on the late game communication mishap. So, it's only taken them 4 years, but him and the coaching staff finally, they had a little bit of a huddle.
Now they have a solution.
They had a huddle. Here's how we're going to fix this. And
I have an idea for a solution. How about Frank Smith calls the plays?
Or Slowick or Bevel or
but literally anybody else calls the plays.
Anybody else at this point. But no.
Chris Greer could call the plays. Anybody else.
Remember the final year of Flores where he wouldn't say who called the plays, but he gave 4 people. He goes, it could be any one of these 4 people. I'm not going to tell you who. I'd sign up for that right now. Now that was laughable. I'd sign up for that right now. Give me 4 people and say you figure it out.
I'll take it.
He was an asshole when he was here, Flores. Last bit, Mike McDaniel was asked, has he lost the team and stuff? He said that the players still seem very receptive to his coaching, despite the fact they're 0-2. So
the players seem receptive to his coaching, despite the fact that they are 0-2. They seem receptive.
And then I know Patrick Paul spoke, and he said, I love Mike. I always tend to him for look, everyone's reading the script. They're all saying the right things, which again, why I don't think he's going to be fired on Friday. I think they're going to give him like another month. But again, as I told Tom last night, you look at their schedule, the quote unquote easy games, Panthers, Cleveland, Atlanta, all on the road. Home against the Saints, you got to go to late November. It's like, I don't know. Jets at home is winnable. Outside of that, the Panthers look pretty dang good. I don't know how we're going to block Myles Garrett and the Browns. They gave up 7 yards to the Bengals week 1 and a half. I mean, and that's a high-powered offense that was healthy week 1. I don't know how we're going to block Myles Garrett with Larry Borum. God bless him. And then Atlanta's pretty good. They went on the road last night. They beat the Vikings. Robinson's going to go nuts against us. So I don't know where the wins are coming. Jets at home is definitely winnable. After that, you probably got to go to Saints in November for your next quote-unquote winnable game. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to lose them all in between. I'm just saying they won't be favored in any of them in between.
Yeah, well, it's I don't want to get ahead of myself on the schedule. I just know that this team is not great right now.
It's just a 4-win team, max. That's it.
Yeah, listen, they gave up 33 points to the Indianapolis Colts, the Colts went out and then they went out and beat the Broncos. So maybe, who knows, maybe the Colts are actually kind of good. And maybe they've actually resuscitated Daniel Jones and there's actually something to that there. But they also gave up 33 points to the New England Patriots at home. And now they get on a short week. They get to get on a plane and fly to Orchard Park to take on the Buffalo Bills. And Mike, this is an opportunity for us to talk about our friends at MyBookie. Yes, MyBookie.com. If you go to MyBookie, you can go in and you can make a little wager. If you use the promo code Dolphins, you can bet up to $500 and if you're a first time user, you get that what is your bet back bonus token?
Bet back. Yes, that's what it is.
Bet back bonus token. So if you sign up with that code Dolphins, use that $500 bet back bonus token. There it is. Got that out. You can bet up to $500 and get your money back if you lose the bet. The reason I wanted to bring them up, Mike, and this is my question because I'm not going to get a chance to preview this game until the live stream or the watch along that we're doing on Dolphins Talk Extra at patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. Currently, the Miami Dolphins are 13-point underdogs on MyBookie to the Buffalo Bills. What would that line need to be? Where would that line need to make it to for you to put the money on the Dolphins?
It'd have to be 19 or 20. It'd have to be 19 or 20, and I'm rooting for a backdoor cover at that point where the Bills are up by like 26, and Miami scores with like 1 minute left or 2 minutes left to sneak under the number, a total backdoor cover. But it'd have to be up to 19, 20, 21. Like, it's got to be that. I mean, we are 1-13 in the last 14 games versus the Bills. And the one, let's be honest, we had a lot of help from the sun that day. just call it what it is. We had a
in
lot
that
of
one. We only won because Josh Allen threw a horrible pass
because the sun was beating down on him. And
he failed to execute the right play.
Yeah.
He failed to execute
energy
the pass that was the game winner.
It was. We have been horrible against this team, and as I said on the show last night, on Wednesday nights when I do my picks, I have fun with it. Yes, it's serious to a point, but I go. Anytime we play the Bills, I've never picked the Bills because I hate. Look, I live up here with these people. I hate these people. Hate their fan base. I hate their stadium. Hate their stupid fight song. Hate everything about them. I don't like them. And I got to walk into Wegmans and it's Josh Allen this, Josh Allen that. Here's these cookies. With everything's Bills. But
yeah,
and I can twist myself into a pretzel for one night. Not that serious, and find a way. Here's how Miami's going to win. I can't do it this week. I can't. There's no Keon Smith and Larry Borum trying to block that defensive line. It's going to be ugly. Tua can't throw the ball to the right team. I mean, he does not look like the guy of 2022 or 2023. He doesn't look like the guy last year who, when he came back from the injury, actually played somewhat well for a while. He doesn't even look like that guy anymore. Hill just wants out of here so bad. Now, this guy, when that ball sailed over his head on Sunday, I'm like, this guy's going to lose it. I mean, he is going to lose it. We're waiting for the meltdown. It could happen Thursday. Mike McDaniel's so bad at his job. We have no secondary. The pass rush, Chubb was the one I was the most worried about. He's the best one. He's playing the best out of all of them. Jalen Phillips can't bring a guy down or wrap him up. It's just bad. In 8 quarters, once again, I'm not piling on rookies. Have you heard the name Kenneth Grant once in 8 quarters? I haven't.
He did knock that pass down.
Okay, knocked down a pass. I must have forgot about that one. But, I mean, it's just like they're so bad on defense. And this Bills offense, they're going to get up by 21 by the end of the first quarter and just put it on cruise control.
I think it is very realistic. I think that there's absolutely a world where the Dolphins give up 50 points in this game. I
have before.
I'm not making a prediction tonight. I think it's going to be ugly, so what you're going to want to do is be a subscriber to Dolphins Talk Extra, because that might be the only way to have some fun watching this game is to come hang out with us, because we're going to be having a good time regardless of what happens in this game. Because here's the thing for me. I'm now at the point where I'm fully expecting this game to be a complete laugher. So there's no pressure. I'm not nervous about the game. I'm not worried about this game. I'm not going to have butterflies for the game. I'm going to go in fully expecting the Dolphins to be made a laughing stock of, on the internet in front of everybody. So that's just what I think is going to happen. And then they have an opportunity to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You won't.
Well,
you won't. I dare you. I dare you, Miami Dolphins.
Here's the deal. Wrong. This game is messing with my head because in, our knockout pool, and I'm also in one more, it's like, how do I not take the Bills this week? But then I say to myself, I've seen this organization screw me so many ways. Watch them come out and find a way. Watch the Bills take us totally lightly and watch us come out and find a way to win. And then I'm going to be happy we won. They're going to knock me out of all the knockout pools. Like, I'm afraid to take the Bills in that game. But then my head tells me, what am I, not just take the Bills? They're going to win by a zillion points against us. That's the one thing about the Bills. I'll give them the credit. They take joy in anytime they play Miami. It's like their eyes light up.
Oh yeah.
And part of it is the fan base up there, because we live somewhat up there. The weather's miserable up here. It's not like a lot to do at times. And they see a team from Miami come up here. They're like, screw Miami. And the fan base takes joy. And I think some of the players as well take joy in, like, no matter how bad we are there, they just want to, like, light us up. And they have for, 1-13 says it all. It's going to be ugly, man. It's going to be ugly.
It's going to be quite bad. I know it's going to be, which is one of those things. I just, like I said, I'm going to go in, and I actually I kind of made a joke, because it's it just kind of is what it is. I said, before I knew what was happening in the game on Sunday, I said to Aaron, we were hanging out all weekend, and I said to him, I said, I give the Dolphins 0 chance of beating the Bills on Thursday night unless they lose to the Patriots, because it would be so same old Dolphins for this team to completely shit the bed against these two teams and then go into Buffalo and kind of figure out some way to win that game in some fluky way, that they go out and into Buffalo and they win that game. And make no mistake, if the Dolphins go in and they somehow upset the Bills, there are going to be people that completely turn the narrative on its head. They're going to be like, nope, we're back in. We're contenders. We're real. We're legit. And there is nothing that could happen this week that will make me believe that the Dolphins are contenders. If they beat the Bills by some fluky thing, it would be very surprising to me. But that I would walk out of that going, no, it was a fluky thing. There's no way that that's legit. That is a fugazi result.
Can I float something by you?
Because yes, float it, baby. Let's go.
It's a short week game, so I was doing just, looking at some stuff for the Bills, and I looked at their schedule. Their 3 toughest games this year: Ravens, who they already played, that was at home for them. They play Kansas City, who I know they're not great right now, but it's still Kansas City. They play that as well at home. Then they play the Philadelphia Eagles at the end of the year at home. So their 3 toughest games on their schedule are all at home. The rest of their schedule is a lot of Miami, New Orleans, New England, Atlanta, Carolina, Pittsburgh, who looks really bad right now, Cincinnati, no Joe Burrow, New England, Cleveland, the Jets. Is there a chance this team, if they beat Kansas City at home, who doesn't look so hot right now, if they beat the Eagles at home, has a perfect regular season? I know they could slip up against anybody. I get that.
Buffalo?
But could you see, if they take care, like the Saints, New England, what we saw, they won, but they didn't look like great. The Panthers are nothing special. Now and they also get Tampa Bay at home, so they get them at home too. But Pittsburgh with Rodgers, they lost at home to freaking Seattle. Cincinnati won't have Joe Burrow. Yes, they could lose, but are they going to lose more than 1 regular season game this year? Maybe 2?
I think the Bills
they stay
are
healthy,
one of those.
Of course.
Yeah, I just think that they're a team that has a slip up in them. You know what I mean? I think they're a team that can slip up.
Once maybe.
They have that thing where they, I don't know. They have a game or two where they kind of drop the ball. It wouldn't surprise me if they won 14, 15, 16 games. I don't think a perfect season.
If they win less than 15, I'll be shocked, actually. I think once they beat the Ravens in the way they did it, they pretty much locked up home field.
I could certainly see it.
I could see them going 15-2. I could even see them going 16-1. That schedule is a lot of nothing. And if they do, it might be like week, 15, 16, 17, where they got nothing to play for. They just start resting guys. But it's there's not a lot of teams that can be competitive against them. I just think they're going to just run over a lot of these teams.
What I think is the Bills do have some questions on defense, although they really came out and they shut down the Jets on Sunday. I think there is some questionable stuff there, particularly in their run defense. And I know that, the Jets are, considered to be a vaunted running team, and the Bills basically shut them down on Sunday. But I think it's possible that they can get a little beat up at some point, and it wouldn't surprise me if they dropped a game. I think running the table is just so difficult to do in the NFL, especially for a team like Buffalo, where what they do, the regular season for this team is truly the preseason. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. This team is not judged. The Buffalo Bills will not be judged by what they do in the regular season. In fact, if they somehow go 17-0, that actually takes the pressure that is already through the roof on them to succeed in the postseason and ratchets it up even more. That's just not something that they need. I don't see it.
Yeah, but I just think that schedule is very favorable for them to win a ton of games.
I'm not going to
they're not going to be outside of Philadelphia, the Chiefs, maybe Tampa, I guess. They're not going to have a lot of tests on there. There's gonna be a lot of games where they're up by a lot, and late in the third, and they're probably yanking guys. It's just gonna be really bad.
The sign.
Oh, look at this, Nick Chubb. Houston just took the lead with 2 minutes left.
We love to see it. You know, the thing that I think is, that basically, the thing that sums up the Miami Dolphins right now is that we're closing out this show talking about the Buffalo Bills for 10 minutes. So that's all you need to know about the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote something today, which we don't have to talk about this now, but if you want to know who are some of the candidates who are out there who might be linked to Miami when they are, at the end of the year, when they start to meet with people for a job, I wrote a whole article on there. I will say one of the names, he's on, he is part of the Bill staff from Pembroke Pines, Florida. I'm not saying I want him, but I'm saying I could see Stephen Ross going, we need a local boy to come home and save this shit. I could see Joe Brady being, someone that meets with the Dolphins. I was very young, 35. He hasn't been a head coach before, but again, do anybody who has been a head coach before, are they going to want to come to Miami? In the past, it's been no. So if you just throw all those people out the window and you're dealing with guys who are true assistants, something to keep an eye on as you watch this game on Thursday.
I'll tell you what, we're going to have a lot of time this season.
Yeah, a lot of time for that.
Potential head coaches and potential general managers and all that stuff. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about that, and we will be doing that here on the show. But again, that's going to wrap us up for this episode of the Same Old Dolphins Show. Like I said, Aaron and I will not be back on Thursday for the main show. I think we are going to do for sure the live watch along for Dolphins Talk Extra. So again, the link is across the screen. If you're watching on YouTube right now, patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. You can join for as little as $3 a month. Join us live for the watch along. And then I think what we're going to do is at the end of the watch along, we'll probably recap our thoughts, and then we'll release that as an episode of Sods Extra, which is every Thursday. We do a bonus segment immediately after we go off the air live. We go on over to Patreon and we do another probably half hour about whatever else is going on in the NFL. And so since we're doing the watch along on Thursday, once the game is over Thursday night, we'll probably put in a recap and give our thoughts and have that be released as an episode of Sods Extra. So there's another argument for you to hop on over and join us over there on Dolphins Talk Extra. Mike, what's coming up this week here on the channel?
Okay, so Tuesday, since it's a short week, we're going to try to cram in some stuff here as possible. So Tuesday, Marissa's going to have a show, and once she's done with this recording, she's talking to the legendary reporter of the Bills, Vic Carucci. She's talking with him tomorrow morning. So as soon as that's done, I'm probably just going to drop it. Then Tuesday night, myself and Josh Moser. Then Wednesday night, myself and Tom. And then Thursday, I think Robert Burns and Eric are going to have a pregame show for me to drop. So we're going to try to squeeze those shows. And I know after the game on Thursday, obviously myself and Tom will have a post-game show. You guys are doing stuff for Extra. And I think myself and Allie are going to do a show maybe Friday. I don't know. I don't know about what's going to happen after the game on Friday and Saturday, because I know some of the shows that we usually do on those days, obviously, are going to be a little bit not like normal. So like myself with Doug, myself with Allie, and I also might have a surprise person who wants to join our team come on and maybe do a show this week.
How about that for a teaser?
We might have a new surprise. We might have a new surprise weekly podcast person who I think people are going to love. Let's just say the shackles are off. Let's go. All right. It's a tease. Well, the shackles are off.
There it is. The shackles are off. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We're being sure to share, like, subscribe, rate us, review us, all of the things that you do. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening. We'll be back with our watch along for Dolphins Talk Extra later this week. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And as always, go Dolphins!
Win one for Mike McDaniel, that is.